Picture this. You walk into PC Richard & Son looking for a new refrigerator. The salesperson is friendly, knowledgeable, and before you know it, you are walking out with not just a fridge, but a protection plan, delivery insurance, and a haul-away fee you did not expect. Your $1,200 purchase just became $1,600, and you are not entirely sure how it happened. Sound familiar? PC Richard & Son has been a fixture in the Northeast since 1909, and they have built their reputation on being the neighborhood appliance store you can trust. But that hometown image hides some pricing strategies and sales tactics that might make you think twice before your next visit. Today, we are pulling back the curtain on what really happens at PC Richard & Son. And trust me, some of these revelations might surprise you. Let's start with something that catches almost everyone off guard: delivery charges. You might think buying a $2,000 washing machine would include getting it to your house. You would be wrong. PC Richard & Son charges separate fees for almost every step of the delivery process, and they are not always upfront about the total cost. First, there is the basic delivery fee, usually around $80 to $100. That sounds reasonable until you realize that is just to get the appliance to your driveway. Want them to bring it inside? That is an additional charge. Need them to go upstairs? Add another fee. And here is the real kicker. If you need your old appliance hauled away, that is yet another haul-away charge, typically $25 to $50 depending on the item. A customer in Long Island shared their experience online. They bought a dishwasher for $650, and by the time they added delivery, installation, and haul-away, the total jumped to $890. That is an extra $240, or about 37% more than the sticker price. The salesperson mentioned some fees, but the customer did not realize how quickly they would add up until checkout. What makes this particularly frustrating is that competitors like Home Depot or Lowe's often bundle these services together, or at least make the total cost clearer up front. PC Richard & Son's itemized approach means you are making decisions about each fee individually, and it is easy to say yes to everything without realizing the cumulative impact on your wallet. The delivery scheduling system adds another layer of complexity. Unlike Amazon or other retailers that give you specific time windows, PC Richard & Son typically provides a 4-hour delivery window. Miss that window because you had to run an errand, and you might have to pay a redelivery fee. Some customers have reported waiting all day, only to have their delivery rescheduled at the last minute with minimal notice. If you have ever bought anything at PC Richard & Son, you know what is coming at checkout. The extended warranty pitch. These protection plans are pushed harder than almost anything else in the store, and there is a very good reason for that. The profit margins on these plans can exceed 70%, making them far more lucrative than the actual appliance sale. Here is how the pitch usually goes. The salesperson will remind you that appliances are complicated these days, full of electronics that can fail. They will tell you horror stories about repair costs that exceed the price of a new unit. Then comes the kicker. For just a small percentage of the purchase price, you can buy peace for the next 3 to 5 years. Sounds reasonable, except when you look at the fine print. Many of these protection plans do not actually kick in until after the manufacturer warranty expires. So if you buy a refrigerator with a 1-year manufacturer warranty and a 3-year PC Richard & Son protection plan, you are really only getting 2 years of additional coverage. But you are paying for 3 years from day one. Consumer Reports found that the likelihood of a major appliance failing during the typical extended warranty period is surprisingly low, usually between 10% and 15%. That means 85% to 90% of people who buy these plans never use them. The math simply does not work in your favor. If a washing machine costs $800 and the protection plan is $120, you would need repairs costing more than $120 during that coverage period just to break even. And then there are the exclusions. Many protection plans do not cover normal wear and tear, cosmetic damage, or issues caused by improper installation. One New Jersey customer bought a protection plan for their range, only to discover that the broken knob was not covered because it was considered a cosmetic issue, even though it affected functionality. The plan they paid $150 for provided exactly $0 in repairs. The sales staff at PC Richard & Son are trained extensively on selling these plans. Former employees have reported that protection plan sales are a major component of performance evaluations. If you are not hitting your protection plan quotas, you might face reduced hours or pressure from management. This creates an environment where the salesperson's incentive is not necessarily aligned with your best interest. Here is something that might make you do a double take. PC Richard & Son will match competitor prices, but they are counting on you not knowing that. Unlike some retailers who advertise price matching prominently, PC Richard & Son keeps this policy relatively quiet. You have to ask, and you have to ask correctly. The policy exists, but it comes with conditions. They will match prices from major competitors like Best Buy, Home Depot, and Lowe's, but the item has to be identical, down to the model number. And here is where it gets tricky. Manufacturers sometimes create retailer-specific model numbers that differ by just one digit, making true price matching nearly impossible. Say you find a GE refrigerator at Home Depot for $1,400, and the same fridge at PC Richard & Son is $1,600. But the Home Depot model ends in HDX, while the PC Richard & Son model ends in PCR. They will tell you these are different models, even though the specifications, features, and appearance are virtually identical. This practice, called model number manipulation, is used across the appliance industry, and PC Richard & Son is particularly adept at leveraging it. A savvy shopper in Connecticut discovered this firsthand. She found a dishwasher online at Lowe's for $200 less than PC Richard & Son's price. When she showed the Lowe's website to the salesperson, they pulled up the models side by side and pointed out different model numbers. After some persistent questioning, the salesperson admitted the only difference was the color of the interior rack, something the customer did not care about. But PC Richard & Son would not budge on the price. The few customers who successfully price match often report that it is not a pleasant experience. Sales staff may seem annoyed or reluctant, and some have been told the price match request needs manager approval, which can take 20 to 30 minutes. It is almost as if the process is designed to be just inconvenient enough that most people will not bother. Walking through PC Richard, you will notice floor models with bright yellow tags advertising big discounts. These displays are tempting, especially when you see 30%, 40%, or even 50% off the original price. But buying a floor model from PC Richard is not the deal it appears to be. Floor models have been on display for months, sometimes over a year. They have been touched by thousands of customers, demonstrated countless times, and may have minor scratches, dents, or operational issues that are not immediately visible. More importantly, floor models typically come with limited or no warranty coverage. That manufacturer's warranty you would normally get is gone. The protection plan option is often not available for floor models. One customer in Brooklyn bought a floor model washing machine at a 35% discount. It worked fine for about 2 months, then started making a grinding noise. When she called PC Richard, she was told floor models are sold as is with no warranty coverage. The repair would cost $300, eating up most of her savings from the original discount. What makes floor model purchases particularly risky at PC Richard is their return policy for these items. While regular purchases enjoy a fairly generous return window, floor models are often final sale. Once you take it home, it is yours, regardless of whether it works properly or not. The discounts themselves are not always as impressive as they seem. PC Richard bases the floor model discount on the original manufacturer's suggested retail price, not their regular selling price. So that washer with a $900 manufacturer's suggested retail price might regularly sell for $700 at PC Richard. A floor model 50% off a manufacturer's suggested retail price at $450 is really only about 35% off what you would have paid anyway. You have picked out your new dishwasher, agreed to the delivery fee, and declined the extended warranty. You are feeling pretty good about your purchase, until the salesperson asks, "Do you need installation?" This is where costs can climb quickly. Installation fees at PC Richard & Son vary widely depending on the appliance and the complexity of the job. A basic dishwasher installation might run from $150 to $200. A built-in microwave could run from $250 to $350. If you need modifications to your existing setup, such as new electrical outlets or water line connections, those costs can skyrocket. The challenge is that PC Richard does not provide detailed installation quotes at the time of purchase. They will give you a rough estimate, but the actual cost is not determined until the installation team arrives at your home and assesses the situation. One customer in New Jersey was quoted $200 for dishwasher installation, but when the installers arrived, they said the water line needed to be replaced, adding another $150 to the bill. The customer felt stuck. Say no, and the dishwasher sits in the kitchen unusable. Say yes, and you pay significantly more than expected. What many customers do not realize is that PC Richard subcontracts most installation work to independent contractors. These contractors are paid by the job, which creates an incentive to find additional work that needs to be done. That is not to say the recommended work is not legitimate, but it does mean there is a built-in conflict of interest. Some customers have had positive installation experiences, particularly with simpler jobs. But the inconsistency is notable. Installation quality and professionalism can vary dramatically depending on which contractor shows up. One customer gets a team that is courteous, efficient, and cleans up thoroughly. Another gets installers who leave a mess and damage the floor in the process. For those comfortable with basic home improvement, hiring an independent appliance installer or handyman is often significantly cheaper. A dishwasher that PC Richard charges $200 to install can often be done for $100 to $125 by an independent professional. The catch is that if something goes wrong with an independent installation, PC Richard will not be responsible for fixing it. PC Richard & Son heavily promotes their store credit card, and it is easy to see why. The card offers special financing deals, like 12 or 24 months interest-free on purchases over a certain amount. That sounds great, especially when you are buying a $3,000 refrigerator. But the terms of these financing offers can catch you off guard if you are not careful. The most important thing to understand is that these are deferred interest promotions, not true 0% annual percentage rate offers. If you do not pay off the entire balance before the promotional period ends, you will be charged interest retroactively from the day of purchase. That means if you buy a $2,500 washer and dryer set with 24 months no interest, and you still owe $100 when month 25 rolls around, you will suddenly be hit with 24 months worth of interest on the full $2,500. The interest rate on the PC Richard credit card is typically around 29.99% annual percentage rate, which is on the high end for retail store cards. On a $2,500 balance over 24 months, that retroactive interest could be over $1,200. What started as a good deal quickly becomes one of the most expensive purchases you have ever made. Salespeople are trained to emphasize the no-interest part of the offer while glossing over the deferred interest details. They will calculate your monthly payment to pay off the balance in time, but life happens. Miss one payment, or pay less than the calculated amount 1 month, and you might not finish paying it off before the deadline. The application process is another pressure point. Salespeople often encourage customers to apply for the card right at the register, emphasizing how quickly they will know if they are approved. What they do not always mention is that applying for the card results in a hard inquiry on your credit report, which can temporarily lower your credit score. If you are planning to apply for a mortgage or car loan soon, that dip could matter. Delivery day arrives and you're excited about your new refrigerator. The delivery team brings it in, and you notice a small dent on the side panel. You mention it to the delivery person, and they tell you to call customer service to report the damage. That is where the real frustration begins. PC Richard & Sons policy states that any damage must be reported at the time of delivery, before the delivery team leaves. But here is the problem. Customers often do not notice damage until after the team is gone, especially damage to the back or sides of an appliance that are not immediately visible during setup. By the time you move the refrigerator to clean behind it and see a significant dent, the delivery team is long gone, and PC Richard & Son may claim you are responsible. The company's damage reporting process can be cumbersome. You will need to document the damage with photos, call customer service, and potentially wait days or even weeks for a resolution. Some customers report that PC Richard & Son initially offers a small discount or store credit rather than replacing the damaged item, forcing you to negotiate for a fair outcome. One customer in Queens received a refrigerator with a dented door. She noticed immediately and refused delivery. The replacement arrived 2 weeks later, also damaged, this time with a scratched front panel. After 3 attempts and nearly a month without a working refrigerator, she finally received an undamaged unit. The company offered a $100 gift card for the inconvenience, which she felt barely compensated for the hassle and lost food from her old fridge that had already been hauled away. The issue is compounded by the fact that PC Richard & Son uses third-party delivery services for many routes. When something goes wrong, there is often finger-pointing between PC Richard & Son and the delivery company about who is responsible, leaving you caught in the middle. Eventually, your appliance will need service. Maybe it's under warranty, maybe it's not. But either way, dealing with PC Richard & Son's repair process can test your patience. The company operates its own service department, which sounds convenient until you try to schedule an appointment. Service appointment. Windows are notoriously wide, often 4 to 6 hours. You are expected to be home during that entire window, and if the technician runs late, there is minimal communication. Some customers have reported taking a full day off work, only to have the technician show up in the last 30 minutes of the window or not show up at all. When the technician does arrive, the diagnostic process begins. Even if your appliance is under warranty, there is often a service call fee, typically $85 to $125, just for the technician to come out and assess the problem. If the repair is covered under warranty, that fee might be waived. If it is not covered, you pay the diagnostic fee plus the cost of parts and labor. Parts availability is another common complaint. The technician may diagnose the problem on the first visit, but not have the necessary part in their van. You will be told the part needs to be ordered, which could take several days to several weeks depending on the manufacturer. In the meantime, your refrigerator, washer, or dishwasher sits broken. A customer in Long Island had their dishwasher break down 3 months after purchase. The service technician came out, diagnosed a faulty control panel, and said the part would take 2 weeks to arrive. 3 weeks later, the part still had not come. After multiple calls to customer service, the part finally arrived in week 5. The actual repair took about 20 minutes, so a dishwasher was out of commission for over a month for a relatively simple fix. The repair pricing is not always transparent either. Customers report being given estimates that turn out to be significantly lower than the actual bill. Labor rates can be $150 or more per hour, and some repairs that seem simple end up being charged as complex jobs. Near the back of most P.C. Richard & Son stores, you will find the clearance section. Bright signs promise huge savings on discontinued models, open box items, and overstocked merchandise. This should be where the best deals hide, but the reality is more complicated. First, understand what clearance actually means at P.C. Richard & Son. Discontinued models are being cleared out because new versions have arrived, but that does not always mean the discontinued model is inferior. Sometimes it is nearly identical to the new version with minor cosmetic changes. However, P.C. Richard & Son's clearance discounts on these items are often modest, maybe 15% to 25% off, when you might find similar or better discounts during holiday sales on current models. Open box items are appliances that were purchased, delivered, and then returned. They may have been used for a few days, or the customer simply changed their mind. These items can be genuinely good deals, but they come with risks. Warranty coverage on open box items is often limited. Some manufacturers will not honor their full warranty on an item that has already been registered to someone else. Treat open box purchases with caution. The biggest issue with the clearance section is the lack of selection. You might get lucky and find exactly what you need in the right size and color, but more often you are browsing through an odd assortment of items that do not quite fit anyone's needs. That clearance dishwasher might be a great price, but if it is bisque instead of stainless steel, it will not match your kitchen. P.C. Richard & Son also uses the clearance section as a way to move out genuinely problematic inventory. Appliances with cosmetic defects, models with known reliability issues, or items that have been sitting on the floor for over a year all end up in clearance. Without careful inspection and research, you might be buying someone else's problem. Here's the thing. P.C. Richard & Son isn't necessarily a bad place to buy appliances. They do have knowledgeable staff, a decent selection, and they've been in business for over 100 years for a reason. But they are also running a business designed to maximize profit, often at the expense of transparency and customer convenience. If you do shop at P.C. Richard & Son, go in with your eyes open. Research prices at multiple retailers before you visit. Know exactly what model you want. Refuse extended warranties unless you have done the math and it genuinely makes sense. Ask about all delivery and installation fees up front, and get them in writing. Consider whether you can handle installation yourself or hire an independent contractor. And whatever you do, read every single line of any financing agreement before you sign. The best deals at P.C. Richard & Son are usually on current models during major sales events like Black Friday, Memorial Day, or Labor Day. Even then, comparison shopping is essential. That sale price might still be higher than what Home Depot or a local independent appliance store charges every day. Have you had an experience with P.C. Richard & Son, good or bad? And if this video saved you from an unexpected fee or an overpriced protection plan, hit that subscribe button. On this channel, we believe in shopping smart, asking questions, and never paying more than you should.